Hello, good evening. I'm here right as the sun was just setting, and I felt to make a video. And the video I wanted to talk today is about how to handle situations where you get emotionally triggered and you feel that there's something that you need to tell somebody. And, you know, during the course of life, there's of course many things that can trigger us emotionally and all sorts of different emotions. So the question is the first question is, anytime we get triggered, to see, is this something that actually needs to be brought up with the other person, or is this something that is actually just my own wounding, my own trauma, and I'm actually reacting out of that trauma, and it's not something the other person's actually really at fault for or needs in any way to have be told anything. So the first thing to do is you do not want to make this decision except when there's absolutely no other choice. When it's like obviously maybe an emergency situation or something, there might be times when you need to do this. But if you're feeling triggered in the moment, that's most of the time not the time that you want to actually be making the decision if you need to have have a conversation with somebody about something, especially if that involves criticizing the person in some way. So the best thing to do in most of these circumstances is to actually wait, because if we're in Eckhart Tolle would call our pain body, a lot of the times it's very difficult to actually make like a decision that's coming from a place of integrity, right? I think in our brain, I've heard an analogy that like the emotional, like more reptilian part of the brain that's in charge of a lot of the emotions we have, especially fear-based emotions, is like an 8-lane superhighway. It's been evolutionarily programmed into us for a very long time, so it's very well developed in the brain. And the more like the prefrontal cortex is like the most intelligent part of our brains, is actually quite a newer development. So it's compared to the 8-lane superhighway of the more primitive part of our brain, it's like a small dirt road, which actually, if you think about it, that really explains a lot of the problems we have as humanity. Like, why are we so smart yet we do such crazy, stupid things as a species? And I think a lot of this is that the emotional part of the brain is unfortunately ruling a lot of the way that this super, more advanced part of our brain is actually getting utilized. So when we want to make a decision about should we confront somebody about something, the first thing to do is normally to reclaim our sovereignty, meaning trying to get out of the pain body, even just for a little bit. So that can be through breath work. It can be through like looking at the belief that got triggered and doing a healing on that. If it's a social situation, maybe if you can see the root belief that got triggered, if you have a set of affirmations that can you can basically narrow down a lot of our triggers to like a pretty small number of things. Like I count around 9 things. So if you can trigger which of like the 9 main beliefs that you triggered of being hurt are getting in that moment instigated within your system, or you're feeling energy of feeling wounded or defensive or not trusting or feeling belittled or whatever it may be, feeling something went wrong, then we can do an affirmation in the moment that will help to counteract the influence of whatever the trigger is. That by itself may not completely take us back into our center. Sometimes we need to isolate ourselves to do it. So if that's the case, then what we need to do is it's good to take some time and do that. And the other thing is, if someone, say, hurt your feelings, they said something not very nice or offended you in some way, a really good thing to do before you confront them is to do a forgiveness practice. Whether it's Hawaii Ponopono, I'm sorry, please remind me, I love you, thank you, or it's a more like formalized forgiveness prayer where you list all the reasons you're hurt and then ask to forgive them through a prayer, and vice versa, any ways you might have hurt them. There's different forgiveness practices that you can do, but doing a forgiveness practice, what it does is when you forgive someone, you're seeing beyond the surface level, the way, there's that old phrase, hurt people, which is like very true, right? So seeing beyond the hurt conditioning that they have into the deeper essence of that person, because even really people who in the relative are doing really not nice things, there's somewhere deep down in them that's a good being. You know, I don't believe anyone's innately evil. I think every person deep down has good in them, but when we get hurt, we get wounded, where it's this lifetime, past lifetimes, ancestral wounds, etc., a lot of baggage starts to accrue, and we start to lose connection to that sense of innocence and purity that lies deep down. So when you forgive someone, you might actually connect deep down to something that's more true to them on like the deepest level, like the soul level, that they are not even really connected to in a day-to-day, moment-by-moment living situation themselves. So that you can connect to a part of themselves that is like more pure than maybe they even see themselves as being. And when you do that, what you do is you actually detune from their, from whatever negativity that person's sending you. Forgiveness is an amazing way to get cut negativity. If you're in a truly forgiving place with somebody, if you're seeing the divine in a person, even as they can't see it in themselves, then what you're doing is you're resonating more with your deepest soul level, and you're not resonating with all the other stuff, right? And so you'll naturally, all that other stuff just can't stay on. It slides right off because it's not in resonance with what you're tuning into. So forgiveness is an amazing way to let go of negativity. And when we forgive someone, we can also see miracles. We can see ridiculous, like unbelievable, miraculous changes in how people respond. I've even seen like people, when you really forgive them, all of a sudden they'll just start treating you differently. Or like, it's like you'll have a fight and then, you'll do some forgiveness prayers, and 30 minutes later you'll see the same person and it's like they barely act like you fought at all. It's like everything's good. And then from that place, if you need to mention something, you can try to, if you need to give them some constructive criticism or feedback, then they're probably going to be much more open to it and actually receive it well. And you also deliver it in a more heartfelt way, so it will be received better, and it can make a huge difference. So, and in terms of how you deliver criticism, it's really good to use something like the sandwich method, which if you want to watch my video on that, you can click the link I'll have below. The sandwich method or some other method to kind of soften the criticism, and also give you perspective, because it's not, the sandwich method is also about giving you perspective about the person rather than just focusing on the negative. So this is one way that we can actually work on really improving our relationships, is to not respond out of the pain body. Because when we respond out of the pain body, it's almost never the truth. And even if there's elements of truth to what we're saying, it's very distorted, and it's coming through such a lens that it's very difficult for the other person to respond from a place of truth. And if they do respond from a place of truth and we're in our pain body, we might not even like it. So try not to respond emotionally from your pain body when other people do things that aren't nice. And if you can do that, and you can like tune into forgiveness, you can take some time, take some space, and you address them later on. It's not about becoming a pushover. It's about responding from a place of integrity, And when we respond from a place of integrity, people see that, and that's someone you want to interact with. And if people don't want to interact with that, then that's probably not someone you really want in your life anyhow, because they probably are not really going to be resonating with you anyhow. So that's the video for today. If you like this video, please subscribe or follow. And if you want to have a deeper understanding of all the different knowledge tools of health and wellness, holistic health that I've accrued over the course of a dozen years or so, please follow. And I can't wait to share more with you guys. Have an amazing day. Peace.